For this last section of notes, we're going to be working on using a calculator to simplify ratios one more time, and then writing rates in unit rates. So we'll be really finding those unit rates. Up here we were talking about ratios, and now we're going to jump into those rates and unit rates here at the bottom. So we're going to be using Texas Instruments calculator. The specific is the 30X2S, but most calculators, scientific, especially Texas Instruments, will do what we're asking you to do today to help you simplify fractions. And of course, if you don't have a calculator, you can still simplify. It just will take you a little bit longer. And so what I need to do in order to simplify 57 over 228, the calculator button that we're going to be looking for is a capital A, and then BC is a fraction. So it looks like a mixed number with letters. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to punch in 57, and then I'm going to put the division bar 228 as my bottom. So I'm putting in the fraction using the division symbol as my fraction bar, and then if I hit my AB, I'm sorry. Doesn't like that either. 57, ABA 228. There we go. I'm sorry. I meant to do that in the middle. So sometimes it's a little bit of trial and error, but to simplify a fraction on my TI, all I have to do is I typed in 57, and then I hit my ABA button, and it put a little backwards L here, and then 228. So instead of the fraction bar, I'm sorry, I meant to tell you, you should be using this mixed number button, and then you get 1/4. And so the simplified fraction of this ratio is 1/4. If you didn't have a calculator, you can always write it as a fraction and then look for numbers that go into both. In this case, 57 goes into both of them, so I would divide top and bottom by 57, and I would still get to 1/4. But you can see how a calculator is going to make life a little easier this unit when we do this. And then over here, we've got decimals, and so on the calculator, what we're going to be doing is we're going to divide first, and then we're going to press the second button, and then we're going to press, there's a little button that has arrows pointing back and forth between an F and a D, and it's above the PRB button. So I'm going to take 72 hundredths divided by 3 6/10. I get my decimal, and now to convert this decimal to a fraction in simplest form, I'm going to hit my second button, and then I'm going to find my PRB button, which is right here on my calculator. And above it is a little F with an arrow pointing at the F and then an arrow pointing at the D, back and forth, saying that it'll go back and forth between fraction and decimal. So I hit my second PRB, and it takes my decimal to a fraction of 1/5. And so my simplified ratio here is 1/5. What happens with the second button is you've got all these keys that say something, and then above them are little blue, on my calculator, they're little blue extra buttons. So what that means is when I hit my second button, instead of this being the log function, it's taking 10 to the x power. And so anytime you hit the second button, it's going to do what's up above in lighter blue, the same color as the second button. And so if I wanted to take a fraction to a decimal, I can go the other way, second, and then I can hit my PRB button. It'll take my fraction to a decimal. Oop. If I hit second PRB, it takes 2/10 to a decimal. So you can see how I take a fraction to a decimal. I can also switch that then. I can hit second PRB and take it back to a fraction just the same way. So that second button, that second function, PRB takes fractions to decimals and decimals to fractions. That's what the F and D stand for.